Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday. I am doing this from my computer, so bear with me on getting used to that. My amazing production crew, who usually sets up cameras and they're sitting behind the cameras and handling all the technical things, are traveling. They're celebrating New Year. Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year. Today begins the year of the fire horse. I don't know if you guys feel the energy. I do. It's like very barreling. Year of the fire horse, Lunar New Year, early voting. It is Tuesday, February 17th, and that means that early voting has begun in Texas. So I hope you guys are planning, deciding who you're going to vote for all up and down the ballot, getting your booties to the polls. If you follow me, you know that I am on the ballot right now for Texas House of Representatives in District 50. That is in Northeast Austin. I would love your vote and your support. So early voting is from now through March 3rd is election day, and that is when the primary will be decided. And in my race, HD50, whoever wins the primary will almost certainly win the general. There is a Republican candidate, but the district is very blue, 80% Democratic voters in that district. So get your butts to the polls if you are registered voters. Oh, somebody just sent me a message. Okay, so I'm Kate Lincoln Goldfinch. I am an immigration lawyer based in Texas, and the name of my firm is Lincoln Goldfinch Law. I do these shows on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the places on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. And Tuesday mornings, we are here together in English, and Thursdays, we are together in Spanish. And the point of this show is to talk to you guys about immigration things, immigration updates, news, what's happening, how to interpret the headlines, answering your live questions about your immigration cases, and talking about ways that we can help and get involved in our community. You know, last night I was at the Travis County Democratic Party, had a forum for all of its precinct chairs specific to immigration. And we were talking about immigration. One of the presenters is a woman from Texas Immigration Law Center. It's a nonprofit that I very much respect. They do a lot of community advocacy, know your rights materials. They're really active. They're very smart. They have really high level thinkers in the organization. And one of the presenters was talking about really the insidious and secret nature in Texas and the way that immigration enforcement happens in Texas in such a different way than what we saw in Minnesota. Because in Minnesota and Chicago and LA, what you have in those localities is a city, county, and state government that is opposed to immigration collaboration. So we get these big, loud actions, and there's raids on the streets and people protesting and people getting murdered and just outrage. And it's very, very visible. But in Texas, what we have is almost all layers and levels of local government collaborating on some level with ICE, starting with DPS highway patrolmen who are actually ICE agents. They have a full collaboration task force model, meaning DPS can pull somebody over, secretly whisk them away, and it's the same as an ICE raid, but it looks much different. And so we have as many people in Texas being taken as there were in Minnesota, but it's secret and it's not as visible in Texas. And so that's one of the things that we were talking about. It's really, 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 really critical. I cannot stress this enough, that we have leadership in Texas that stops this collaboration with ICE, because it is ruining our state. It is ruining our economy. You know, up to 40% of our construction workers are immigrants. And we have now, the Attorney General issued a decision last week saying that from now on, all occupational licenses in the state of Texas require a valid Social Security number. That means plumbers, electrician, HVAC, massage therapists, cosmetology, like every every job that tow truck drivers, even every job that requires a license to conduct the job is now going to require a valid social security number, which isn't even the way that you confirm somebody's legal status, by the way. But Ken Paxton issued this ridiculous interpretation of state law as if it were like his new interpretation is the rule now. And so that's going to really upend things in Texas. And I just cannot say this enough, you guys. We must have people in leadership in the state who give a shit about immigrants and immigration issues, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm so sick and tired of immigration being down on the list of priorities for Democrats because it's hard. It's hard and it's divisive, and they don't want to do that fight. They'd rather fight for public schools, which is important, really, really important. But it's not one or the other. And we've got to have people who will not give up on the immigration issues in the Capitol. That's why I decided to run for office. I may or may not get elected. We'll see. We'll know a lot more on March 3rd. And whatever happens, as you guys know, if you know me, I will continue this fight for immigration. But for the love, can we please get some people in the Capitol who care and will fight about immigration? I would like to tell you guys some good news to start out with. This is regarding the Hutchins Detention Center. Hutchins is this little town kind of near Dallas. And they have this huge warehouse in Hutchins that is, I think it's 1 million square feet, right? Enormous. And there's been all this push from DHS to purchase or lease this warehouse to create a new detention center in Hutchins that would house 9,000 people. And it's been looking like it was a go. But just yesterday, the owner of the warehouse, which is a company called Majestic Realty, came out and said they will not now, nor will they ever sell or lease their warehouse to DHS. It was huge. It was so good. So kudos to Majestic Realty. There's been a lot of community advocacy in Hutchins. A lot of the local community has spoken out. I know that LULAC has been involved. I have not been behind the scenes in Hutchins, so I don't know the names of the players to give shout outs. If anybody knows, please, Natalie, you're voting for me. Thank you. If you guys know who has been behind the scenes advocating for this decision in Hutchins, please help us get the word out and thank them for their efforts, because it was a success. And we will not see a detention center in Hutchins, but there are so many others in Texas. And with that, I'll tell you about my second piece of news, which is, y'all, not good news. It doesn't really get, I don't think, much worse than this when it comes to family detention. Of course, we also have the case of little Liam Ramos with his little blue hat. This morning, I learned about the case of Juan Nicholas, a 2-month-old baby, detained at Dilley Detention Center. He has been there since January. He has been sick for 3 weeks because what do you know when you put a newborn in a jail with a bunch of other people who are sick and there's a measles outbreak? I don't know. Maybe that newborn's going to get sick. You know, big surprise. This little boy has not been keeping his food down, and he was hospitalized yesterday in the middle of the night, actually, for respiratory distress. And what I have to say is that there is zero reason on this planet why we should have a 2-month-old baby in a jail-like setting. I just dare any conservative, Republican, talking head, legislator, what have you, I dare you to get on camera and try to justify putting a newborn infant, a precious little baby, in jail. There's no reason for that. And now this little baby is hospitalized, and hopefully he will survive. I mean, anybody who's had kids knows that when you have a little one, a newborn, their little immune systems aren't developed yet. And even a fever is a really big deal. Like, it's not like, you know, when you have a toddler or a kid and they're sick all the time. Little babies, brand new babies, sometimes don't recover. And I don't know about you guys, but I think often about, I mean, there's the policymakers, of course, and like the Stephen Millers and all of those, and they just don't interact with these people, and they dehumanize them, obviously. But I often wonder about like these ICE agents, these CBP agents, these jail workers. These jail workers are employees of the Geo Group or CoreCivic. They're not government workers. They're just rural country people who got a job at the local jail. And they are watching this go down before their very eyes. And I do not understand it. I don't understand how people can do that. Like, how on earth could you look at a little newborn infant and be okay with that infant being sick behind a jail cell under your watch? There's no justification. So I'll keep you guys posted. Juan Nicholas is his name, the little Juan Nicholas. So let's keep talking about the news. The federal courts are starting to weigh in on stuff happening in Minnesota, and they are not happy. So they're saying that, of course, this won't surprise you, that people who were detained in Minnesota were denied access to counsel under their Sixth Amendment right under the Constitution. And so the judges have ordered that they be given access to counsel before they get transferred, it's a short temporary order, but it's good. I'm happy to see that. Now we're looking at a lot of the judges. So we've talked a lot about these habeas cases, and a lot of the Trump appointed judges, the majority of the Trump appointed federal judges are not siding with him on immigration issues. Oh, my daughter's upset because she can't find the dog, but he's okay. Do you guys have this? Do you have children and pets, and then they go through a phase of pet anxiety where they're worried about their pets? I wonder if other people have had that. It's kind of stressful. Okay, now we have more protesting going on in Minnesota. They are skeptical up there that ICE is really out. They believe that there has been collaboration and cooperation behind the scenes, which wouldn't surprise me at all. It would not surprise me at all if, in an effort to get CBP and ICE out, they made some sort of deal to give more jail access or something like that. I bet something like that went down, and the people of Minnesota are not happy with the opacity, like the lack of transparency over what's happening, and they're not satisfied. And that's exactly, what we have in Texas, or even more so, where ICE has access to our jails, ICE has access to our police, our DPS. It's just insidious. It's so bad. And it ultimately is because of Greg Abbott and the Republicans in the legislature. A new Gallup poll, this is regarding immigration, says that only 8% of Americans see immigration issues as a problem for the country. So it's just another indicator of the falling public support for the Trump administration's actions on immigration. And then finally, this is something that doesn't surprise me at all. Voluntary departure has skyrocketed for people in detention, and it's getting close to 40% of the people who get detained ask for voluntary departure. And the reason for that is that we have prolonged indefinite detention, deplorable conditions in detention, and most people who get detained decide that they want to just give up and go back. They don't want to suffer in detention any longer. And that's, of course, a tactic and a strategy of the Trump administration. I will also say it's gotten dangerous for people to self-deport. I was talking yesterday about the case of someone who is a single parent who has kids, like several kids here, a couple born in the US, a couple who are undocumented. And this person has decided that they can't live and work in Texas anymore. It's too dangerous. I mean, imagine single parent, bunch of little kids at home. You can't go out on the streets and get detained, and then what's going to happen to the children? So this person has decided to self-deport. But the question then becomes, how do I even get out of here safely? Because if you buy a ticket and you go to the airport, TSA will turn you over to ICE. And if you register with the, what's it called? CBP Home, biggest eye roll ever, you're registering as an undocumented person present in the United States. I haven't heard of anybody who registers with CBP Home getting picked up. And I'm curious if anybody watching has, like, if you've heard of anything like that, because I think that probably is the safest way to do it, but I don't want to advise that. I'm worried that if somebody signs up on CBP Home that they're going to come and get them at their house or their place of work. The other option is to drive down, to the southern border and cross, but then it's dangerous to be on the road with all the DPS troopers. So there really also isn't even a safe way for people to remove themselves when they want to do that. It's just really terrible, as we all know. Okay, I'm going to get to your questions, your live questions. Yes, we've got to vote. Y'all, we got to vote. February 17th. Today starts early voting. I should actually be out at the polls saying hi to voters, but I'm here talking to you because we have our previously scheduled appointment, you and I. Okay, so if an undocumented person is driving and is stopped by police or ICE, can they take the vehicle away? Yeah, they can. They can impound the vehicle. Most of the time, they just leave the vehicle. I talked to a woman the other day whose child was left in the backseat of the vehicle. Her 9-year-old child was left. There was another person in the backseat, an 18-year-old kid who was not able to drive and was not a caregiver for this child. But they didn't even look in the backseat. They just took the dad in the front seat and left the kids in the backseat of the car on the side of the road. That's what they do. They don't tend to impound the vehicles, but sometimes they can impound them and then you have to get them back. Yes, Miranda, I do answer these on Facebook. Okay. Senia says, ¿Puedo hacer una cita, abogada? Abogada, y usted ya llevó el caso para renovar la residencia. Sí, seguramente que sí. Mándeme un mensaje directo para programar la cita. Anybody who wants an appointment, just send me a direct message. I don't think I said it this time, but I'm still doing free consultations. So just DM me if you want a consultation. Miranda says, updates on the Fifth Circuit decision. I don't know which one you mean. Let's cover all the big ones. Fifth Circuit on DACA. We're still waiting on Judge Hanen's interpretation, so no updates on DACA. Then there's the Fifth Circuit decision on habeas petitions. The update on that, we thought it was going to be really bad news, but what we've seen is that the federal courts are by and large approving habeas anyway, despite it's called the Buen Rostro decision. That was an attempt by the Fifth Circuit to limit people's ability to get out of detention. And the lower federal courts are still releasing people, ordering them released on due process grounds. And then the other big Fifth Circuit decision on immigration is related to Senate Bill 4 from 2023. This was the law that creates a state level crime for illegal presence and a deportation mechanism in Texas. It's like crazy and unconstitutional. And the Fifth Circuit heard oral arguments on that en banc. It's called like all of the judges. And we're still waiting on an update there. So those are your Fifth Circuit updates. Can ICE detain a minor even if they are with an adult? Yeah, they do. I mean, this little baby, Juan Nicholas, 2 months old, they are detaining children. They are doing all sorts of crazy things. They're taking the children with the parents. They are leaving kids in the backseat of the car. They are placing the kids in foster care. They are giving the kids to the caregivers. And this is one of the reasons why I emphasize, I don't have any safety packets with me, but like literally one of the safest things and best things you can do as an undocumented parent is create a safety plan and have all your documents in one place and create the caregiver authorization so that you already have the documentation done if you get picked up that says who should have the custody of those children, because sometimes the kids are going into foster care and it's not easy to get them back. So it really, really is important to do the safety packet. And we have those for free, available for download on my website, abogadakate.com. Joel, DACA new applications in Texas. They are still not being approved because the good news of the Fifth Circuit DACA decision was that we can begin DACA initials again. The bad news of the Fifth Circuit decision was that it will revoke work permission for Dreamers in Texas. And what happens is now the lower federal court Judge Hanen has to interpret the Fifth Circuit decision. And he's received arguments from both sides about the logistics of how this would function. And he has not issued a decision for a couple of months. I would venture to guess he feels the weight of this decision, because if he issues a decision revoking work permits in Texas, that's going to have a really massive and negative impact on our state. And I think that probably Judge Hainan is grappling with that. And we're waiting. But until he makes a decision, we won't see new applications being processed nationwide. So we're just kind of on the edge of our seats. But it was in late November that he heard arguments on this stuff. So he's been sitting on this now for over 60 days, which is very unusual. Okay, if a minor is detained, what should the family do? Call a lawyer, call me, DM me, and we'll get on the case and start working on a bond application or habeas application. Number one thing is to get a lawyer. He estado esperando la llamada de su parte o tengo que volver a marcar. Zuli, no sé cuándo nos llamó o para una cita o qué. Mándame un mensaje directo. Mi equipo debe responder entre un día siempre. Para una cita nueva o para una pregunta de un cliente debe ser dentro de un día. Esta es nuestra política en la oficina. Entonces, si ha estado esperando más de un día, mándame un mensaje directo, por favor. Okay, what's next? What is the name of the baby? Carl. Juan Nicolas. I'm going to do a video about this when I get off this show. I've got a picture of him, and the name of the reporter who broke this story is Lydia Terrazas. She works with Univision National. She and I have worked together on a couple of cases. She really is a person to follow. She is up on these issues, talking to the families, breaking these cases. Some of the most egregious cases that have come out of these detention centers have been because of Lydia's reporting. She's a solid, hardworking reporter. Something's going down, she is there. So if you don't follow her, you should. I'm going to tag her in my video. Juan Nicolas is the name of the little baby. 2 months old. He's in the hospital right now. Republicans on the right don't really care. To them, this baby is the spawn of evil. Can you imagine? Can you imagine having so much hate in your heart that you would think that about a little baby, a little precious little baby? They have demonized immigrants from Latin America and not other European nations. That is what we have to change. Totally agree with you 100%. I mean, really at the root of all of this stuff is racism and xenophobia. And that has existed in humanity since we have existed. And once you are on the other side of that, when you choose the side of love and unity, it's unfathomable that you would go back or believe or be on that other side. I was thinking about that a lot with the Super Bowl, the halftime performance. Like literally you can have a choice between joy and celebration and dancing and just like, good vibes. Or you could go to some shitty show where they're like literally singing country music about how trans people are wrong and have hatred in their hearts and are feeling victimized and sad for themselves. And you actually, each of us actually has a choice about which of those sides we're going to choose. And why on earth would you choose anything but celebration and love when you have that choice? Same thing, a little precious little baby, 2-month-old precious baby in jail. What on earth would have you choose the side in which you are arguing for the detention of that baby? And what happened to you in your life that's where you have ended up? Time to rethink. Time to rethink one's choices, I think. Okay. What if I submitted, this is Jonathan, what if I submitted my T visa application in November 2025? When would I get a receipt? We're noticing that it's taking somewhere between 6 and 7 months for the receipt notices on humanitarian cases, which is a long time. We're not used to such a long time. Some ways that you can make sure that they got it: always send your mail certified so that you can confirm it was received. Always, anytime you send anything to immigration, get it, either send it like FedEx, UPS, or USPS certified mail. And then the other thing is if you paid with your credit card or a check, they'll usually stamp your case number on the back of the check, or it'll show up on your credit card. Meow Meow. I love the good names on TikTok. My family is from El Salvador. My parents became citizens years ago. I'm even scared for them. I understand, and I'm sorry, and it's ridiculous. They are at risk of being racially profiled, of course. What I would say is that citizens, naturalized citizens who get detained are usually released very quickly. Not that that's acceptable. We should definitely fight against that. But generally, it is extremely rare, even under today's circumstances, for a citizen to be detained for any length of time. The only time I've seen that happen is when there's a question of the citizenship, like this person was born abroad but acquired citizenship through their parents, like that sort of thing. Birdie, my husband's name got us surrounded at gunpoint by Border Patrol 15 years ago. We're flying in March. Anything we should do? Let's talk. Let's have a consultation, because I do think basically what he's got probably is like some sort of name match within the system where he flags like he's on somebody with similar name and maybe even a similar date of birth is on some sort of high level watch list. And this will probably happen every time he comes in, and now is of course more dangerous. So let's consult. I want to hear more about what happened and what they said and all of that, and think about how you can be ready and protect yourself. With the news about Trump coming after naturalized citizens, what should we do? I think that is worthy of ignoring. How about that? Ignore, delete, look away. Here's why. The laws are really clear on denaturalization. Denaturalization is a very specific process by which someone who committed fraud on their green card or naturalization application can have their naturalization taken away, but they have to investigate and find fraud. So if you don't have fraud in your case, it's just noise, and we should move on with our lives and just make sure we've got up-to-date documents, your naturalization certificate, always a valid passport, valid driver's license, like make sure all your documents are in order, but don't worry that you're going to lose your status. I don't think that's a real risk. Adam on Instagram, is it possible to still fix, even with a criminal record, drug charge, and what is the process of that? Generally, drug charges are very tough in immigration. So almost any drug conviction, other than a conviction for less than 30 grams of marijuana, is a complete bar, or it's called a ground of inadmissibility. It's a bar to getting legal status. There are some types of cases like crime victims visas and trafficking visas where you can still waive drug convictions. But overall, in general, drug convictions are serious in immigration. Now, if it was marijuana and it was less than 30 grams, or if it was paraphernalia, then you can still sometimes get through it and get a waiver. This area of the law is actually complicated, drug convictions and immigration. And so definitely it's something you don't want to just like take this, 30-second response from me as a decision. Definitely consult on your eligibility. Reach out to me. Consultations are free. We'll talk about whether you can get legal status or not. And we'll be honest with you. We tell people, I should actually get the numbers for you guys. We have generally about 40% of the people who reach out to us for services are not qualified, meaning we can't help them get legal status. So that actually is pretty common for us. We do have things we can do for you, even if you're undocumented and you can't get legal status. We have a peace of mind program where we still sign an agreement and we give you a strategy session and we collect your documents and we prepare you and help you do your safety packet and give you a line to talk to us if you have an emergency. So there's still things we can do even if you think you don't qualify. It's worth reaching out for a consultation. Let's see, next question. Oops, sorry. I lost my place. Bear with me for just a second. Okay, there you are. What are you going to do to protect immigrants from attorney misconduct and unethical practices in Texas? I love that. I love this question. Because frankly, I on some level work on this every day. The first thing I do is I serve on the state bar committee as an investigator. It's called the Unlawful Practice of Law Committee. And this is a committee that investigates and goes after document preparers, forms preparers, notarios who aren't attorneys and they sell their services. And I cannot even tell you guys how many horror stories I've heard from these people. Some of them might be well-meaning, but they don't understand the laws and they get people hurt. So that's one thing that I do, as a hobby. But also, I mean, I probably have about 40 consultations a day at my firm. Many of those are second opinion consultations. Many of those are regarding attorneys who have not done right by their clients. Oftentimes, the attorney is a good attorney, and the process is an unfair process, and the attorney maybe just hasn't done a great job communicating that to their client. And we'll tell you that. We'll say, like, this looks like it's going fine and you need to communicate with your lawyer. Or I'll say, you know what, this lawyer doesn't have a great reputation. We can take over your case. And one way to check on your lawyer is to go to the state bar website and check and see if they have disciplinary history. And that's a way to tell if you've got a lawyer who's at least been disciplined by the state bar. And one thing to know about immigration lawyers is because immigration law is federal, we can be licensed in any state. So I'm licensed in Texas where I live, but there are lawyers who work at my firm who are licensed in other states. And so when you want to check a lawyer out, just ask them, where are you licensed? What state are you licensed? I want to make sure you don't have disciplinary history. And any lawyer, worth their salt will just tell you. They're not going to try to hide it, I would hope. So that's another thing that you can do. Okay, sorry. Next question. You are the lawyer of the men who work for me. If they are taken, can you talk to me regarding them? For sure. I need them to authorize you because lawyers have very strict confidentiality rules. So I can't ever talk to somebody else without my client's permission. So it's really important, especially like if they're not married, single person, that they proactively call us or email us and say, hey, I want you to know if I get detained, I want you to talk to so-and-so about my case. So we have authorization to do that. Lupita, do you take VAWA cases that are already with USCIS? Yeah, for sure. We definitely take over cases that are already pending. What we'll do is review what's been submitted and make a determination about whether we think it was sufficient or whether we need to supplement the application with more evidence or whether we need to just enter our notice of appearance and monitor and wait for it. But yeah, we definitely can take over cases. We do that a lot. How can parents talk to their children about these situations without creating panic while still preparing them? Every family is different. Parenting is a very personal journey. But what I think and believe is that our kids know what's going on, particularly I would say like third grade and older. They know, their friends talk, they understand what's happening. And so if you have a child who is aware, or at least is going to hear rumors or stuff at the school, on the school playground about this, preparing them and informing them is the best thing you can do. And I think the best thing is to have a literal family plan. We have packets, you can download them on our website, where you go through and you say, like, these are our rights. We don't open the door without a warrant. These are our constitutional rights. These are our documents. I put them in this box under mommy and daddy's bed if anybody needs them. And then Aunt Sarah will come over, whoever's going to be the voluntary caregiver of the child, and say, like, we're all signing the paperwork and Sarah's going to sign it and we're going to sign it and everybody's going to have a copy of it and you're going to have a copy in your backpack. And so if something happens, first of all, mommy and daddy, we've talked to a lawyer, we're working on legal status, we're doing all these things to protect ourselves. But if something happens, Aunt Sarah is always going to have her telephone on. She's going to come over. She'll take care of you. We have a lawyer. We'll fight to get out. Like, we've thought about this and we have a plan. And that plan and that information will help the kids feel more confident and comfortable. And you have to decide the age at which you have that full conversation with them. In my opinion, it's when they start to become aware out in the world and they might hear about it. So it's better that, sort of like sex ed, it's better that you preempt what they're going to go hear from their friends with your own information and you plant the seed first. I didn't update my naturalization paperwork after I got married. Should I do that? Nah. No. If you changed your name, you ultimately are going to want to update your passport. Name changes are such a nightmare. If you change your name, you're going to need to update your passport. Your naturalization certificate can stay in your maiden name forever because it's not a document that you update. It doesn't expire. So you'll have your nat certificate, your marriage decree, which will be your proof of legal name change. Then you'll take that and get your driver's license, and then you'll update Social Security, and then you can update your passport. It's like a domino effect, but the nat certificate can always stay within your maiden name. Thank you, Carl. Very helpful. This guy's family, it's Abogada Kate /safety is our resources page. We have the safety planning packet for families. We have the workplace safety packet for businesses and organizations. We have Know Your Rights cards. We are rolling out a packet on protecting your property, your pets, your property, your house, your business, your money. We are working on a packet on that stuff too, and it will be on the same page. All this stuff is available for download for free. Quick tip on pets. I hate this one, but I heard of a case recently where a pet was left behind when somebody was detained, and the number on the tag of the pet was that person's number, but they couldn't answer their phone because they were in detention. So another sort of safety tip is to change the phone number on your pet's tags to somebody who will be able to pick up. So gross. Denise, can I process my N-400 even if my 10-year green card has been expired for 2 years already? Totally. Yeah, you don't have to have a valid green card to naturalize. Your permanent resident status never expires, just your card expires. So you don't have to renew the card to renew or to do naturalization. You can't travel, though, out of the country without a valid green card. So that would be a reason to do both the I-90 and the N-400 citizenship. You kind of follow Ann Richards. Remember her? I knew you remind me. Oh, that's the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me my whole entire life. I recently watched, actually, when I decided to run for office, I was like, who do I love? Ann Richards. And I watched her documentary on HBO, and I was like, I could never be that funny. I'm just like, very few people are as funny as she was. She was hilarious. So I don't have her humor, but I definitely love how bold and powerful she was as a woman and what she stood for in terms of equality for women and racial justice. She was ahead of her time, and she was one of the strongest women we've had in recent history. And so a comparison to Ann Richards, I will put in my heart and take it with me for all time. Thank you. Even if I can't be that funny. Okay. So Aleja, you use an attorney for FOIA requests, but I'm concerned with the feedback. Can you help check that? Yeah, totally. Bring the FOIA to a consultation and we'll take a look. If it's a super long and complex one, we might end up like signing a contract to do hourly research. But if it's a short and simple one, we can just do it right in the consultation, which is free. And we'll let you know once we take a look. But yeah, we can review FOIAs. Is it recommended to have a power of attorney or legal guardianship document prepared? How does that work? Yes. Yes, you should have a legal guardianship document for the kids for sure. I need to start keeping these safety packets right by me, but there's a document in our safety packet that has the legal guardianship. You don't necessarily need, well, a power of attorney over property is good. So a bank account, either in, dual names or power of attorney over a bank account. And then you can sign a power of attorney over assets, car, house, business, etc. So if you have any of that stuff, you also want a power of attorney to protect it. And we're working on a packet on that too. You don't necessarily need a lawyer to do these things. Karen, my mom got her green card and is good for 5 years. Yay! When should she reapply for a green card? So she should, it's her green card should be good for 10 years. You say 5 years. Her card should be valid for 10 years. And so she should reapply probably about 6 months before the expiration, or she could naturalize and become a citizen and vote. She'd have to learn English. If she doesn't speak English, that could be a barrier. Should be eligible to take the test in her own language after 15 years of her green card, if she's over 55 at that time. What rights does a minor have during detention or questioning? The same rights as everybody else. So Fourth Amendment right against search and seizure. I do not give you permission to search me. Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I wish to remain silent and only speak to a lawyer. Okay. Sixth Amendment right to have access to counsel. Same deal. I wish to speak to a lawyer. These are rights that you have to verbalize or assert. They don't just attach. So this is why, these red cards, everybody hands out these red cards and you're like, what the heck? What am I going to do with a red card? This is the way that in a moment of detention or inquiry or arrest, you can show the red card to the police and assert your constitutional rights. And the child should say the same thing. I do not wish to speak without my parents present. The cops can do anything they want. They can lie, they can threaten, they can coerce, they can do all of this stuff to a child even to try to get them to talk, which is another reason why it's really important that we have these safety conversations with the kids and we prepare them and say, I don't care what the police officer says to you. You tell him or her, you're not talking until mom's or dad is present. Thank you so much, Aleja. You are so appreciated. Good luck. Thank you. Yes, early voting starts today, everybody. February 17th. I am on the ballot in House District 50 in Northeast Austin. And then this will be the last one because I got to get to my day. Chispa de bomba. Always here. Often here. Thank you so much. Any thoughts on the administration's deadline for today to respond on Doe V Noem? Will this apply just to FRP beneficiaries or all humanitarian parolees? Let me take this one to a video. So I'll do a video on this one specifically. I want to do a little bit more research on it before I just give you an off the cuff answer. So I will, I'll commit to doing a video. FRP video. My guess is that this is only going to apply to, the FRP is the family reunification program that was applied to several countries from South and Central America. And there's, of course, been a cancellation by the Trump administration of legal status for all these beneficiaries. And then there's always litigation when they do illegal stuff and cancel it. So my guess is it's limited, but let me confirm that before I answer it for you. Okay, action tip of the week. If you're in Texas, please do go out and vote. Do your research. Figure out who you want to vote for. Howdy Politics is a great person to follow in Texas. She has endorsed my campaign. That's why she's great. No, I'm just kidding. She's great because she's really up on all the info. I agree with her analysis of things, and she has done endorsements over the whole state, right? So it's like very comprehensive. It doesn't matter where you live. My race is just Northeast Travis County. So if you don't live like north of 290, just a little south of 290 in parts, and basically east of Mopac, you're probably in another district. But if you are in my district, please do go out and vote for my campaign. If you care about immigrants, or not in my district, but you are an eligible voter, please go out and vote. Please exercise your vote. This is such an important election. And we got a lot of really great Democrats on the ticket right now. It's a really exciting time, actually. And there's an energy to it. And so the way that we participate is by being voters. So that's your action tip of the week. And we'll see each other on Thursday in Spanish, talking about similar things. pero en español. I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me. Go vote. Bye-bye.